Why God blessed Hezekiah with 15 more years of life. Many have wondered, why did God give Hezekiah 15 more years? As we dive into this question, we are reminded that Hezekiah's life served as an example of faith, loyalty, and God's grace. King Hezekiah ruled over Judah and was known for his dedication to God. He destroyed idols, purified the temple, and was obedient to God's commandments. In 2 Kings 20, Hezekiah was faced with a life-threatening illness, and God miraculously intervened to save the king by extending his life by 15 years. We will explore the reasons behind God's decision to extend Hezekiah's life, the lessons we can learn from his example, and the significance of this life extension for us today. Number 1. His obedience and faith brought God's favor. Hezekiah was known for his dedication to God, which is a key factor in why his life was extended. He cleansed the nation of idolatry and turned his people towards the one true God. 2 Kings 18:1-6. He understood his responsibility as king to lead his people in following God and fulfill the covenant with the Lord. Hezekiah's obedience manifested not only in cleaning the nation of idols, but also in how he turned to God during times of distress. In 2 Kings 19, Hezekiah turned to the prophet Isaiah to pray on his behalf upon receiving the threatening letter from the Assyrian king. God's intervention in this case was a display of his power, saving the Israelites from Assyrian invasion. 2 Kings 19:32-37. Hezekiah's spiritual diligence and unwavering faith in God demonstrated his commitment to remain faithful to the Lord, which undoubtedly contributed to God's favor and mercy in his life. Number 2. A sign of God's love, mercy, and power. God's decision to extend Hezekiah's life by 15 years served as a testament to his mercy, love, and power. Hezekiah fell gravely ill, and Isaiah prophesied that the king would not recover. 2 Kings 20:1. Hezekiah turned to the Lord in prayer, begging for mercy, and contending that his righteous actions earned him God's favor. 2 Kings 20:2-3. After hearing Hezekiah's prayer, God responded through the prophet Isaiah, promising the king 15 more years of life and deliverance from the hands of the Assyrians. 2 Kings 20:5-6. This act of mercy and the miraculous healing were clear demonstrations of God's love, compassion, and power, showing Hezekiah and the Israelites that the God they served cared for them and was actively working in their lives. Number 3. Trusting in God's providence. The life of Hezekiah teaches us to trust in God's providence. Instead of panicking or resorting to his strength, Hezekiah turned to God in prayer when faced with the Assyrian threat and his illness. 2 Kings 18:19. The outcomes of these events showed that God was capable of providing what was best for his people. God revealed that he had planned Hezekiah's life extension, even letting him know that his life would not end prematurely. 2 Kings 25:6. This act demonstrated that God had good plans for Hezekiah and the people of Judah. As believers, we can lean on God's guidance and provisions in our lives, trusting that his plans are always better than our own. Jeremiah 29:11. Number 4. God's chastening produces righteousness. While Hezekiah was a faithful king, he was not without flaws. His life extension led to a season of pride, and he carelessly showed his treasures to Babylonian envoys. 2 Kings 20:12-13. Because of this, Isaiah prophesied that future generations of Judah would be taken captive to Babylon. 2 Kings 20:17-18. Aware of his failure, Hezekiah humbled himself and acknowledged God's justice. 2 Kings 20:19. Even though Hezekiah had a strong relationship with God and had received many blessings, he was not exempt from God's discipline. He had to learn humility, which is crucial in maintaining a relationship with God. Proverbs 3:34. The chastening and redemptive aspects of God's work in Hezekiah's life remind us that as believers, we are never beyond God's loving correction. Hebrews 12:6-11. Number 5. Hezekiah's life serves as a lesson for future generations. Hezekiah's life and God's actions in it have been preserved in the Bible for our study and personal growth. Romans 15:4. Hezekiah's example of faithfulness, prayerful dependence on God, and his experiences of divine intervention are profound lessons that can guide us in our faith journey. We can learn from Hezekiah's shortcomings as well, acknowledging that no one is perfect, and all believers will face temptation and trials. His life story encourages us to remain humble, obedient, and faithful to God. The extension of Hezekiah's life served several purposes: to demonstrate God's love, mercy, and power, to teach us to trust in God's providence, to show that God's chastening produces righteousness, and finally, to serve as a lesson for future generations. We can take comfort in knowing that God's love and mercy are abundant, while His discipline is always for our good. By studying and understanding Hezekiah's life, we can gain a deeper appreciation of our sovereign and loving God, as well as learn how to become better followers of Christ. Let us be inspired by Hezekiah's faith and persistent prayer, so that we may also experience God's grace and intervention in our lives.